Oh. Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhir Bhavatu Me Sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha Gurudeva Param Brahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Narayana. Hari Om and good evening from Pittsburgh. How many of you, by a show of hands, your physical hands, not your virtual hands, are atheists? And you can be. I'll just kick you out of the class then. See, if you're an atheist, that means you don't believe. But what is it that you don't believe in? Many of the atheists that I meet, they don't know what they don't believe in, but they use such terminology. Traditionally, an atheist is someone who doesn't believe in God. And now, at a bhava level, at a feeling level, then God is easy to explain. But at a technical level, it's not as easy. In Sanatana Dharma, we call God as Brahman. And we understand Brahman as Sat, Chit, Ananda, or existence, awareness, joy. So now think, for all of the people who are atheists, do you not believe in existence? Do you not believe in awareness? Don't you have to exist to not believe in existence? Don't you have to be aware that you're not believing in awareness? And I find joy to be the most straightforward part of this understanding. Every one of us is pursuing joy. Whether we are smart about it or not is different, but we're all pursuing joy. So we're all pursuing Ananda. We're all pursuing Brahman. We're all pursuing God. How can one be an atheist if one is pursuing God? That's how infinite Sanatana Dharma is. But you have to have this knowledge to benefit by this. If you don't have the knowledge of this essence, of these technicalities, then we're not benefited by that. We come to believe that we're atheists and we live like that then. But if we believe that we're theists, we come to live like that. You have to have the knowledge to benefit by any experience. We just went to a Mexican restaurant for Bhiksha. And it was the first time that I was at this Mexican restaurant, and I didn't know what to order because I didn't have the knowledge to benefit by this place. But the family that I was staying with, they said, this queso is very good. We should get this. So through that knowledge, I was able to benefit by having queso with my chips. See the practicality of Sanatana Dharma. Coming back to last week when we began our study of chapter 4. You get what you give. You get what you give. Now think, what are you giving? If you feel small, you pursue that which is small. If you feel big, you pursue that which is big. So if we get what we give, and our giving is based on what we feel, then what chapter 4 is trying to teach us, as we're introduced to this subject, is that we are not humans. We are Hanuman. We are Bhagavan Krishna. We are Brahman. Start to feel it. Start to pursue it. This is what a yajna is. A yajna is where the ego tries to unite itself with its nature. That's what the word yoga means also, to unite. We've learned about the Guru Shishya Parampara. And the Guru Shishya Parampara is present to help us learn. We learned about Avatara, and that we should have faith that when we need help, Bhagavan will be there. We now shift to, if you've read the readings for this chapter, for this section, the most controversial aspect of Sanatana Dharma, which is typically known as the caste system. And I would say it's controversial for two reasons. Number one, how deeply this is misinterpreted. Number two is the effects of this misinterpretation. So let's begin exploring that. Bhagavan Krishna says in chapter 4, this is called Varna Vyavastha. Varna Vyavastha. What does Varna mean? Varna means color, does not mean caste. Even in Hindi, correct? For all of the Hindi speakers, you use the word Varna to describe or color. It does not mean caste. When you think of the word caste, like a cast mold, that which is fixed, cast out. But you never use those terms with colors. And then if you think of the word Vyavastha, the base there is Avastha. Now, where have you heard of this word before? Avastha. Jagrat Avastha. That's how we begin Bhagavad Gita course. Then we get to Swapna Avastha. That's like the middle of the Bhagavad Gita course. And then Sushupti Avastha. That's at the end of the Bhagavad Gita course. Correct? Avastha means that which comes and goes. And comes and goes. Like the waking and dream and sleep period. So you see again, this color is not fixed. We keep moving around between being leaders and being followers and being leaders. And this knowledge, this understanding, just what I've told you, can make such a difference to stop the misinterpretation that the words are wrong, to stop the effect of people being harmed by this misinterpretation. Varna means color. Avastha means that which comes and goes, changes. Sanatana Dharma is a monotheistic polytheism. Monotheistic means there's one source, one essence, one power. Polytheism means expressed as many, it's expressed infinitely. This seems to be a more complex religion than other religions. And the word complex, you can invoke that or not. But certainly, I feel it's a more accurate religion in the sense that, aren't you monotheistic polytheism? Aren't you, I'm looking at some of the people in the first screen, aren't you wives, aren't you daughters and sisters and wives and mothers and grandmothers also? But there's only one of you. You are that monotheism, but you express it. Sometimes you're a wife, sometimes you're a daughter, sometimes you're a student, sometimes you're a teacher. Isn't that most accurate? That's the micro. Take this to the macro. When we were at this Mexican restaurant, the tortilla chips were flour, and the burrito was flour, and the enchilada was flour. So the flour is the monotheism, but see the polytheism that comes with it. So the micro, the macro, And this is why Bhagwan says, I am the author of this Varna Avastha. Because Bhagwan knows this is how the micro is, this is how the macro is. So he's saying, yes, this is the truth, this is reality. Now, whenever there's diversity, whenever there is this multiplicity, we humans, and not all beings, we have this tendency to classify. And this is not wrong. This classification is done for the sake of efficiency. Classification is done for the sake of efficiency, such as when you go through immigration. Suppose you flew to Toronto, then there's a line for diplomats, and there's a line for Canadian citizens, and there's a line for people from the EU, if there's still an EU soon, and on and on and on, correct? They classify, and there's efficiency. It doesn't triage do that in a hospital also. This is really urgent, you need to go here. This is less urgent, you can wait here. In the course, examples are given about plants and animals. Humans also need to be classified because it helps us with our development. This is who I am now. This is who I need to be. But if I don't know who I am now, then I can't grow up from there. This classification, don't even think about societal development, just think about your own development. Going again to a BMI, your body mass index, that's a classification also. And from there, to get it into the right zone. Now, when it comes to human development, we're obviously not talking about physical, because I already said we're not humans. We are Hanuman. Our development has to be not of the hardware, but of the software, which is why Bhagavan Krishna says one's color, one's varna, is based on their guna. Guna means quality, guna means rope. It is the rope that makes you worldly. It makes you a human. As long as there's sattva guna, we are humans. And then Bhagavan says karma also, but I'm not going to focus on that because karma is simply an expression of guna. Karma is an expression of guna. So really all Bhagavan is saying is our color, the color of our mind, is determined by our guna and the changing states of the guna. Yesterday I had a satsang at someone's house, and right before the satsang, I received a harder email to deal with, administrative email to deal with. And so I felt my mind was very chanchala during the satsang. You know, this was on my mind, and I still had to speak about whatever I had to speak on, and even driving back to the home I'm staying with, I wasn't very talkative because that was still on my mind. You see how my karma was an expression of my guna. My mind was agitated, so I couldn't help but express that in the satsang, as well as not wanting to talk when I came back. So really, it's not karma, it's just guna. Now, who are you? So today, Tuesday, April 25th, 2017, at 8:44 p.m. Eastern Time, I'm going to tell you who you are. So start writing this down, okay? You know, people come to me, Panditji, can you read my hands? Pujariji, can you look at my forehead and tell me, yeah, you should wash your face more often, or wear a bindi or something. A Brahmana, which we'll simply put as a thinker, is 60% sattvic. Sattvic means calm. 30% rajasic. Rajasic means aggressive. And 10% tamasic, which means lazy. 60, 30, 10. Sattva, rajas, tamas. Brahmanas, got it? Everyone's thinking, yeah, we're all Brahmanas. You have to hear the other classifications before you can identify yourself. Kshatriyas, Those are the administrators. So you have thinkers, and then you have people who make that thinking real. They are 60% Rajasic, 30% Sattvic, and 10% Tamasic. So the same 60, 30, 10, but now it's Rajasic, Sattvic, Tamasic. So now is everyone still a Brahmana? I still have 2 more classifications to go, okay? We're all like Duryodhana. I haven't found anyone more noble in this world other than me. Number 3 is the Vaishya. Vaishya is 60% Rajasic, 30% Tamasic, and 10% Sattvic. So that's 60, 30, 10 with Rajas, Tamas, and Sattva. And finally, the Vaishyas are the mobilizers. They're people who mobilize resources to do the work that the administrators want to do, that the thinkers have thought about. The Shudras, who are the actual workers, they are 60% Tamasic, 30% Rajasic, and 10% Sattvic. That's Tamas, Rajas, Sattva. Everyone got that? So this classification is based on what your software is like, and note that nobody's software is 100% Tamasic or 100% Sattvic. Hence the word avastha. See how important that word is. You keep shifting, but you're predominantly one. And Swami Tejamayana clarifies this a lot. He says that sattva, the more sattvic you are, the more selfless you are. Okay? So to really be clear about this is the more sattva that's in our software, the more selfless we are. If we want to understand these different varnas, a selfless person is thinking about more. They're thinking about not just their community, they're thinking at a society level. A Kshatriya may think about at a community level. A Vaishya may think at a family level, and a Shudra may think at only an individuality level. See, they're thinking more. As I share this, I hope that I'm being clear that the Varnas are not better, they're only different. The Varnas are not better, they're only different. Bhagavan shares in Purusha Suktam that from his head has come the Brahmanas, the thinkers. From his shoulders have come the Kshatriyas, the administrators. From his thighs have come the Vaishyas, the mobilizers. And from his feet have come the Shudras, which is the workers. Now in all of this, in Purusha Suktam, Bhagavan doesn't say, I only look after my head. When you take a shower, do you consciously avoid your feet? My head is most important. I do not wash my feet ever. Do you only wash your shoulders and not your thighs? Imagine your feet were taken away from you after this course. How difficult it would be, no? So it's not that they're better or worse, they're simply different, and they all work together. Think of the home you're in right now. You needed an architect or an engineer to think it out, correct? Then you needed an administrator, a project manager. Then you needed a Vaishya. You needed a bank manager, right? And then you needed the Shudra, someone who put the carpet down, someone who wired the electricity. And if you take away one of those components, what happens to your house? There's no house. And Swami Tejamayana says, imagine there's a strike of a certain Varna. All of the Vaishyas said, enough. We are not going to mobilize anything anymore. Right? Then it's like America. The government shuts down. Right? Every quarter they need to find more money to keep the government alive. Correct? Every one of these Varnas is necessary. So ensuring that we get the theory, we need to understand the application too. Based on what Bhagavan has shared, he's telling us you have to know your swabhava. Swabhava, simply put, means your vasanas, your blueprint, your gunas. Know what your nature is. And based on your swabhava, you will know your dharma. You know your swabhava, you know your dharma. Do not misinterpret what I'm saying. Swabhava does not mean swadharma. I'm not saying no Satchidananda. Swabhava is what's above Satchidananda, that this is who I am, but this is who I think I am. And then your dharma needs to follow suit. Swabhava and dharma. The implication of this is that your swabhava is your nature. It is not based on your birth. Birth is based on space, time, matter. Your swabhava is not based on space, time, matter, so you cannot be born as a Brahmana. Example, Ravana. Ravana was born as a Brahmana. Was Ravana a Brahmana? Was Ravana thinking about the whole society when he kidnapped Mother Sita? Prahlada was born as a Rakshasa. Was Prahlada a Rakshasa? Prahlada is a jnani. He's the highest type of bhakta. When you base someone on their birth, you are furthering misinterpretation and destruction. And this is why I also share that you cannot be born as a Hindu. You understand Hinduism, you follow Hinduism, you are a Hindu. You do not understand Hinduism, which means you can't follow Hinduism, then you're not a Hindu. Statistically, you could be one. But what does that mean? That's like two people who are married but they don't love each other. Statistically, they're a husband and wife, correct? But there's no relationship there. You have to have the knowledge to benefit by this. The benefit here means to protect, to promote. As I was reading the writings that Swami Tejamananda shared on this, I was thinking about Chinmaya Mission and how the seva that Chinmaya Mission is offering through knowledge is surreal. If you think about the seva people are doing in Bharat about working with the Shudras, regulating the Vaishyas, it's all at a symptom level. Now, all of the physicians and people who work in the medical system, don't you want to shift towards preventative medicine? Don't you want to focus on the source and not on the symptom? What Chinmaya Mission is doing is teaching people what the truth is so that they become ambassadors for all of those people who are marginalized. Think deep, think big about what seva is. It is surreal what Swami Chinmayananda set in motion to help this destruction, to help it by stopping it, by interpreting this in an accurate way. Guna. Varna is guna. In this next section, which is not a major section, the major sections so far are Guru Shishya Parampara and Avatara. Now we've taken up Varna. Next week or the week after about Yajna, but a minor section is on Karma. So, when you don't know what to do, it's most overwhelming, isn't it? When you have to buy a gift for someone who has everything, isn't it overwhelming? What do you end up doing then? Don't buy them anything. They have everything, correct? Or if you, that's why I really like Hondas, because you don't have any option with a Honda. Like you have this model or this model or this model. That's it. So it's very easy. You go in and buy this car because there's not much choice and you accept it and you act on it. But when we don't know what to do, it is overwhelming. All of the parents in the course, when you don't know what to do about helping your child decide on a on a school or a course or a relationship. It is overwhelming. And still people say ignorance is bliss. I don't know and I feel overwhelmed, but I'm still going to say ignorance is bliss. It's not bliss at all. Bhagavan says in chapter 4, after he explains guna, that karma confuses even the most wise person. And so he brings out a classification of karma for us to try to understand why we are doing what we're doing. Okay, so here's one classification. Akarma is an expression of tamas, which is where you do nothing. So Monday through Saturday there's karma, Sunday akarma day. Do nothing. The less you do, the more evolved you are. So akarma is an expression of tamas, where one does nothing. One is inert. The expression of rajas, if rajas is the guna, the expression is called vikarma. Vikarma means action that is negative, action that makes the mind more disturbed, actions that increase the vasanas, which is contrary to the purpose of why we're here. So akarma, vikarma. Then the expression of sattva, if the guna is sattva, the expression of that is called karma. Karma is action with attitude. Key point being attitude. So here, the mind is quietened. The vasanas are reduced. So ask yourself, based on how you're feeling when you act, when you act, do you feel more lazy? Do you feel more disturbed, or do you feel more quiet? That will determine what you're engaged in. So if you're engaged in charitable work but disturbed, constantly disturbed, that's not called karma. That's called vikarma then. And if you love shoveling the driveway, you love mowing the lawn, etc., etc., you love it and it makes you so quiet, that's karma then. Here's another way to look at this, okay? Let's shift it to English. Inaction is when we are, again, inert. My water bottle is ever engaged in inaction. It just sits there. Action is where you put in effort. Inaction is inert. Action is where you put effort in. Unaction, that's with a U. Unaction is natural. Natural. Okay? So going to the gym, not going to the gym, inaction. Working hard to go to the gym, action. Not working hard to go to the gym. It's just part of your routine. It's what you do. That is called unaction then. Now apply this deeper. When it comes to your sadhana, when it came to this morning, did you do your sadhana? If not, inaction, inert, tamas, akarma. If we're working so hard to do our sadhana, we needed to use 10 alarm clocks to get up and take a cold shower and have our parents and family push us into the puja room, then that is action, so much effort. The japamala is so heavy. 1, 2, that's action then. But if you fly out of your bed and fly into the shower and then fly into that room and you feel more comfortable there, that doing japas as natural as breathing, then that's called unaction. Now think, what does this have to do with you? Bhagavan's trying to give you a reference point to identify yourself. Please don't get lost in the theory. Why is this given? So you can identify who you are and then reach higher. That yes, I'm someone who's always engaged in action. Then this is who I am. I need to reach higher and get into unaction. That's why these classifications are given. I've shared with many of you a pendulum. And right now, as we think about karma, karma is thoughts, words, and actions. Thoughts, words, and actions. What determines our thoughts, words, and actions? Knowledge, vision, attitude. Kva, that's kva with a V. Twa with a W. So guna, that's knowledge, vision, action, attitude, knowledge, vision, attitude, that's the kva part, then starts to look like the twa part, which is the thoughts, words, and actions. So how did this all start? Actions or karmas based on guna, or attitude, and that's all affected, regulated, supported by knowledge. I began this evening's discourse by sharing you get what you give. When we use the word give, we tend to only think of resources, finances. And those people who have a lot of resources and give think they pat themselves on the back. And those people who don't have a lot of resources and can't give, then they shut down. Give here means apply. Apply yourself. Don't just give resources, give time, give effort. Applying yourself means stepping outside of your comfort zone. And when you do, what you'll actually be doing is giving up anger. How? Stay with me, okay? I'm about to finish because this is life-changing. Anger comes from lack of acceptance. Another word for lack of acceptance is expectation. Another word for expectation is deservership. Deservership. When you give of yourself, you give up anger because you're starting to give up deservership. Didn't I tell you that was the focus of chapter 4? And when you do that, we'll get to chapter 5, where when you give, you're giving of yourself more now. It's from doing this with effort to doing this without effort. Then you give up arrogance. And so in chapter 5, we will study giving up doership. But you have to start with giving up that anger, by giving up that expectation, by giving up that deservership, by giving, applying this knowledge to the gunas, to our karmas. Oh.